We had the debate last night, presidential candidates debated.
How was your house? You having
Those
fun?
aren't really debates. They're just, well, I don't know what they are, but I think it can be wrapped up very simply. If you're a Trump proponent, he won. And if you're a Harris proponent, she won. I don't think there's any more complication than that.
And if you're neither, with crippling depression.
Yes, very much so. There's so much to discuss. I thought Trump looked weary and defeated.
He did.
Almost to the point where I wonder if he isn't tired of this. He's possibly exhausted from defending himself against lawsuits and criticisms and whatnot. And I just wasn't impressed with the whole setup. It's not a debate. What is it? What would you call that?
Popularity contest. The ABC trying to help get Harris.
Because one reason it's not a debate, and both parties are guilty of this, they never answer the question they're asked.
Thank you. Thank you.
But why aren't they taking a task on that? You didn't answer the question.
Well,
Yeah, why indeed?
for example, the very first question out of the box, I think,
Yeah.
from David Muir to, I think, Kamala was up first, is something to the effect that are Americans better off today than they were 4 years ago? And she didn't answer that question. She launched into her campaign platform.
But shame on him for not challenging. I mean, President Trump for not saying, hey.
Because he just as urgently wanted to get in what he wanted to say. They both get in what they want to say and don't answer the questions that are put to them.
Is that a good debater or a bad one?
I would have been an unruly moderator because I would have demanded, look,
me the answer.
Ms. Harris, you didn't answer the question. Answer it. And I
The
would have
rules
done the
don't
same with
allow
Trump.
For that.
Huh?
The rules don't allow for
No,
that.
I know. That's why it's not a debate. What is it? What is it?
It's two separate campaign rallies going on.
That's exactly what
at-
it is. It's
in
two
different
campaign
segments.
rallies going
Yep,
on
yep.
the stage.
You're right, John. Yep.
May I play some audio?
Well, sure, but what is it?
Well, I found this compelling because he made the point that I was trying to make yesterday a lot better than I can because I'm a dum-dum.
Yeah.
But J.D. Vance was interviewed by, I forget her name, the CNN, one of the CNN anchors shortly after the debate. And it was about the whole cats and dogs being eaten by Haitians in Springfield, Ohio. And the point he makes, I think, is quite valid, whether you're a fan of J.D. Vance or no. But I think that this speaks to the larger issue of exactly what you're saying about what was that last night.
I would say is he brought up this misleading false claim that you yourself have talked about in recent days about Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, abducting people's pets and eating them, which officials there have said is not true. You yourself acknowledged it may be false on Twitter. You still told people to keep spreading it. But Trump just amplified it to tens of millions of people who were watching. Why push something that's not true?
Well, first of all, city officials have not said it's not true. They've said they don't have all the evidence.
They
But
said
we've
they have
heard,
no evidence.
We've heard from a number of constituents on the ground, Caitlin, who both firsthand and secondhand reports saying this stuff is happening. So they very clearly, meaning the people on the ground dealing with this, think that it is happening. And I think that it's important for journalists to actually get on the ground and uncover this stuff for themselves when you have a lot of people saying, my pets are being abducted, or geese at the city pond are being abducted and slaughtered right in front of us. This is crazy stuff. And again, whether those exact rumors turn out to be mostly true, somewhat true, whatever the case may be, Caitlin, this town has been ravaged by 20,000 migrants coming in. Healthcare costs are up. Housing costs are up. Communicable diseases like HIV and TB have skyrocketed in this small Ohio town. This is what Kamala Harris's border policies have done. And I think it's interesting, Caitlin, that the media didn't care about the carnage wrought by these policies until we turned it into a meme about cats. And that speaks to the media's failure to care about what's going on in these communities. If we have to meme about it to get the media to care, we're going to keep on doing it because the media should care about what's going on.
I saw you say.
I don't want to talk about cats and dogs.
But you get the point, though,
I do,
right?
of course I get the
Yeah.
point, but I'm done with cats and dogs, for Christ's sake.
But the media did, as I told you guys, if you went a week and a half ago to the New York Times, there's a long, in-depth story about everything going on there. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Not cats and dogs, but what's going on with all the
Cats
people.
and dogs living together.
But I guess the point, John, is that it's we're ignoring what the real problem is. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, the
that's
New
what
York
Vance-
Times story did not. That's what I'm
But
saying.
how many people actually read that, and how many people are fixated on what the New York Times reported? Because we seem to be ignoring that to a large degree.
I'll give you something that to me, it boils down to this. I think it's reasonable to suspect that Harris is going to win. She's got a lot of weight behind her. She's got the media behind her. She's got a lot of money. She presented herself as someone prepared. But I was reviewing her policies, and the problem becomes she's completely flip-flopped on all her policies.
Right.
Well, because she is taken into a room and she's told, look, you can't go out there tonight and tell some hardware store owner in Omaha that he's not going to have gasoline 2 years from now. You just can't do that. That's not what America wants to hear. They want to hear some joyfulness. They want to hear promise. They want to hear a betterment. But her policies, the problem is, I don't think we still know, or I don't think we have any evidence to believe that once she's president, what are we to expect? We don't know what she'll do because she's already demonstrated she's entirely capable of changing her mind to suit whatever the moment has to be. Well, once she's president, she doesn't really have to abide by that caution. She's the president. She can bring about that which is at the root of her thinking, and I don't know that we know what that is. For example, this isn't it. Where in the hell is it? Here it is. For example, in 2019, she told the ACLU that she supports cuts to ICE funding, and she supports providing gender transition surgery to detained migrants. Now let's try to remain reasonable here. I doubt if there are hundreds of thousands of detained migrants who are desiring transition surgery.
Okay, I would agree
But
with
she
you.
supported funding that, which is an odd thing. I don't think that would be typical
I wonder what the demand is.
of the average American. This was an ACLU questionnaire she filled out. This comes from town hall events. During one town hall event in New Hampshire in April 2019, Harris was asked by a voter if she supports adding a third gender to federal ID cards.
Oh, my God.
Sure, Harris answered, to a round of applause. I have my entire life and career been an ally, and I see the issue of LGBTQ rights as a fundamental civil rights and human rights issue, period. Okay, that's fine, but I think she's disguising some of that right now, don't you?
Yes.
She's disguising that in the interests of running the campaign. She attacked the Trump administration's efforts to ban transgender troops in the military, calling it outrageous. Well, I think that's been reconciled. Don't we have a transgender? We have a lot of transgender people in important positions now in the Biden administration, don't we?
I think so.
The attorney, who am I? Well, you know who I'm talking about. Which military branch has a transgender?
No, it's she's the health and
Yeah.
the doctor who runs the health department, whatever that is.
Right. The ACLU told CNN it does not plan to send Harris a new questionnaire this election. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
They declined to elaborate why. What else did she say?
Rachel
back?
Levine.
Rachel Levine.
What is she? What is her?
What was that? Rick Levine at some point?
Admiral Rachel L. Levine is the Assistant Secretary for Health and head of
There we
the
go.
United States Public Health Service Commission Corp. corpse.
She was very strong in her beliefs in 2019 that immigration detention is out of control. We must end the unfair incarceration of thousands of individuals. I was one of the first senators after Trump was elected to advocate for a decrease in funding to ICE, which is an acronym for what?
The
Immigration
ICE,
and Customs Enforcement.
That's what it is.
All right. Harris first appeared to be citing her efforts in 2017 to oppose increased ICE funding after Trump. So the question becomes, let's just leave it to immigration. The question becomes, as president, for example, would Kamala Harris encourage a continuing influx of foreign guests to our country? And to what end would that be? And to what cost to the American taxpayer? To what reason? We don't know if she would. If she lives up to what she's saying now, she'll increase ICE funding, she'll improve border security, and she'll stop the influx of immigration.
I don't think that's
Well,
going to
we don't know. That's what we don't know about her. That's what we don't know.
But during the debate last night about that very subject, Trump said, well, then why aren't you doing it now? And I believe her response was, well, I'm not Joe Biden.
She was definitively opposed to fracking. But fracking is important to the state of Pennsylvania. So last night, she was for fracking.
So did the money get to her on that one?
I don't know. What will
Donors?
she do as president? As president, will she revert to, because she's a Green New Dealist, will she revert to the idea that I'm going to ban fracking?
I'm sorry, did you say that she was or was not fact-checked?
She was not fact-checked.
Got it, okay.
Yeah.
What about drill, baby, drill?
I'm for drill, baby, drill.
Not you, dum-dum.
What
Although I'll
about
probably
drill?
vote for you for president, Joe.
What about drill, baby, drill?
Kamala.
She's not a drill, baby, driller.
And that hasn't changed.
Right.
Yeah.
Harris also wrote, and I don't want to get hung up on this because it turns into we're eating cats and dogs. Harris also wrote that she supported taxpayer funding of gender transition surgeries for detained migrants and federal prisoners. Well, make of that what you will. I'm not going to get too worked up about that one. Harris was asked if president, this is 5 years ago, she would use executive authority to ensure the transgender and non-binary people who rely on the state for medical care, including those in prison and immigration detention, will have access to comprehensive treatment associated with gender transition, including all necessary surgical care. Would you do that? Harris replied, yes. All right. Again, is that a hill worth dying on?